Hello, good morning. So I'm here to talk about the newest trailer for Star Trek Discovery Season 2. So this is the second trailer, I believe, for Star Trek Discovery Season 2. When the first trailer came out, some other people did some videos and reaction videos. I didn't really say much about it. I think I mentioned some other videos that I didn't really have much to say about it. I didn't really care for it. And I wasn't that excited for season 2 of Star Trek Discovery based off of that first trailer, because it did seem to be playing heavily on nostalgia and fan service, which that aspect to Discovery I'm not really looking forward to be honest. And um, yeah, and a lot of people were talking about, oh, Spock's coming back. He's been cast, and Pike is in the show. And we see Pike in the first trailer, and a lot of like vigorous debate about stuff like that. And I just wasn't that interested to talk about it, to be perfectly honest. And I was like, yeah, I'll watch season 2 Discovery, but I'm not really that much looking forward to it because it looks like they're focusing on like another search for Spock kind of thing. And I think it was kind of obvious from that first trailer that they were trying to change the tone to make it a bit more lighter and not dark, sort of to appease a lot of the pushback that Discovery has been getting. And that's fine too, but the darkness honestly is never something that really bothered me that much about Discovery, because I keep saying this, Deep Space Nine was dark as well. So the fact that the Star Trek show is dark is nothing new to me. My issues with Discovery had more to do with the pacing, the fan service, and maybe the characters not coming off as strong as they could, and nothing in that first trailer really, made me feel better about any of those particular issues. And the reason why I decided to come on and talk about this second trailer is because the second trailer actually did make me stand up and take notice. It did address a lot of the issues. Now, I'm just going to go first issue that this trailer addressed for me, and I'm just going to jump right into this, is one of my biggest issues with Discovery is the makeup change, the look of the Klingons. Now, I've agreed with people who hate the show. That's something I totally agree with them with. It was ridiculous. Now, I read somewhere in the article that they were giving the Klingons a makeover and sort of changing the makeup again. But we get a brief glimpse of this in this new trailer. So I took a little screenshot here. And so it's hard to see because it's a bit blurry, but basically that's kind of the new look of the Klingons that I think we get in the second trailer. And I gotta say, I love it. This makes me so happy. In fact, me and my brother when we did our Discovery Season 1 review, we kind of debated on whether or not they would simply just retcon the Klingon look, because it would be inconsistent between seasons if all of a sudden they look one way and then all of a sudden they look a different way. But it seems like that's what they're doing. And I have to say, I think that's the right move. I think that is the smart move. Now, from that brief shot I showed, again, it's not a very clear picture, so we don't get a clear look of what it is. It does seem somewhat different from the way they look in TNG times, but it's a hell of a lot closer. And they have hair. They have hair. Thank God they have hair. At least that's what I was saying. At least give the Klingons freaking hair, for fuck's sake. That was the worst thing about the way they looked in season 1 of Discovery. How they're all of a sudden, they look like Urukai, like a lot of people called them Kling orcs or whatever, and I'm totally on board with that. I couldn't stand the way they looked. So, and to me, this seems like it's so it's not just the tone that the showrunners are taking on board of the pushback and criticism season 1 got, but I think they're taking on board a lot of the pushback, and because a lot of people were pushing it back against the way the Klingons look, because a lot of people were saying, like, why even call them Klingons at this stage? They're going to look totally different. They're going to act pretty It felt weird when they mentioned Klingon stuff like Kalis and Honor, because why are these weird orc-looking things saying it? But if they look more here, I'll show you this dude again. So if they look more like this dude, then okay. I mean, that's not exactly. I mean, that's pretty much what Klingons. They still have maybe a bigger, more alien-looking face or whatever than the TNG. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay if they want to make them look a bit more alien or a bit more scary, as long as they look like fucking Klingons, which this guy totally does. He has hair. Fuck's sake, and the ridges. So I'm completely happy with this. In fact, we see that character who was in season 1. What's her face? I can't remember her name, but the Klingon character, and she has hair as well. So they changed the whole look of the Klingons, and that's fine. Like, I don't mind the fact that it's going to be inconsistent with season 1. This is something I hasn't said I meant to talk about before. I don't care. Like, and I don't want to come up with like headcanon or in-universe reasons of why they look different. Just call a makeup change. Like, I actually was really irritated by the Enterprise episode where they try to come up with an in-universe reason of why the makeup look of the Klingons is different from the original series to Next Generation era. I'm not on board with that. It's of coming up with in-universe reasons or excuses, I should say, of why something that's obviously just a production change or has to do with the passage of time. Like, so I hope they don't try, and I'm pretty sure they won't. I hope they don't try to come up with an in-universe reason of why they look totally different in season 1 than they do in season 2. Just say it's a makeup change. Fine. And as I said, I think it was just, I don't care that it's inconsistent. I think that's something that needed to be fixed. I said this in my season 1 review. They need to change the look of the Klingons because they do not fucking look like Klingons. So that has me very happy. Has me very excited. Yes, and Colonel Doomsday in the chat. Well, hey, what's going on? You say amen. Never seen a blonde. I don't know if that was blonde. I think he was gray hair. It's hard to tell because of the lighting that shot with the green lighting, but I think that might have just been an older Klingon with gray hair. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. It was blonde. Laurel, yes, that's her name. Colonel Doomsday, yes, Laurel. I didn't take a screenshot of her, but they had a little shot of her in the trailer as well, and she had the makeup change as well with hair. And as I said, it's completely inconsistent, but who cares? It's something that they needed to fix, and they fixed it, so I'm so happy. Also, I'm gonna do another little screenshot that I took because Colonel Doomsday. I remember when my brother did his reaction video for the first trailer, we were sort of in the chat talking about whether or not number 1 was in that trailer, and he said that she wasn't, and he was right. She clearly wasn't, but she was in this new trailer. So now let's see if I can show. I think this is clearly number 1. Because you see her talking to Pike saying, "Oh, I'm very concerned, Captain." So I think this is a big glimpse. I don't think she's going to play a big part in the show, but it was a nice little nugget. It was a nice little thing to throw at fans to be like, "Oh, here's a reference." I think this character here is clearly number 1, and I think we needed to see some characters that we're familiar with if they're having Pike in the Enterprise. And also, like, I will say, like, because just getting into Discovery as a whole, because as I said, some of my issues had more to do with the overall tone and the not the tone of it being dark, but like the character interactions and it feeling like a cohesive story. And I got that from this trailer. Like, particularly like scenes that I love seeing was with Burnham and Saru and how they were sort of, you got like the impression that they were going to bond a little bit more. You got moments of Pike on the bridge being the captain with Saru and stuff. You got the feeling that they were gelling, that they were working as a team, that you were going to get more of seeing the crew being really a cohesive team, which is something that we didn't get much of in season 1. I think that is a legitimate complaint. So I think that's another thing from this trailer. It appears that they will be correcting. Yeah, and what else? We got a few other things in this trailer that, yeah, it looked kind of, you just got good character moments between them. Particularly, yeah, Hassa said the touching scene where it seemed like Burnham was, talked about how close that she and Saru had bonded. It seems like we're getting more into those sort of seeing this group, and it seems like they're building an interesting story plot with like this Red Phoenix or whatever that Burnham is saying, and they're building a mythology that actually works within the show. So I gotta say, this second trailer has me way more excited for the show than the first one. The first one didn't really do it for me. But I'm willing to give this a chance because, and I think the fact that they were willing to change the Klingon makeup, like that in itself is great. But I think that's also a signifier, like it's an indication that they're willing to make changes to appease, sort of address some of the issues tons of people had with the first season. And that in itself makes me a lot more hopeful for season 2, that they are actually going to make a much better effort to fix a lot of the pacing issues and issues with characterizations that they had. But the one issue I still have with this show that still exists in this trailer, and it is relying a bit too heavily on fan service and having Spock. Like I would probably be okay. Like I would probably prefer they not have Pike, they not have Spock. They just try to have the show stand on its own 2 feet. But it's already been established that they are playing it really heavily into that. And plus the way the trailer ends, of course, you see the bearded Spock and people are freaking out. He has a beard. Who cares? I don't care. And yeah, I think the way they ended the trailer there was just like a fan, and those are the moments of season 1 I didn't like, and it seems like season 2 is going to lean even more heavy into it, which is why I didn't like the first trailer, because the first trailer was almost entirely of the look, it's Pike, and I just hate that. But the trailer does have me sort of hopeful that maybe they're going to make it worthwhile, that it is going to be built around good character moments and a good story, and so maybe I'll be able to forgive all the obvious pandering to fans, which irritates me, because as I said, like one of my biggest issues with the show's premise is they should have made Michael Burnham's adoptive Vulcan father a new character, a generic Vulcan, not Sarek. I don't like the fact they bring in Sarek, and of course that now they're bringing in Spock to be her, brother. And I still think that it is not a huge canon violation like some people think. I mean, I don't think it's entirely consistent, but throughout Star Trek, a lot of shit is entirely inconsistent. So for me, that's nothing new. So that's not the reason I don't like it. I just don't like it because I wish it relies too heavily on that pandering fan service, and I think the show would be better off just standing on its own 2 feet and not being so heavily dependent on look at Spock. But that being said, I am hopeful from this trailer that even though they're having Pike and Spock and people like that in it, that they're going to use them well, and it's going to be an interesting. As long as it's crafted around a good story with good character development, which, I mean, it's hard to, you can't say for sure just from one little trailer that's like 2 minutes long that's going to be the case. So I'm still not entirely sure, but I'm a hell of a lot more hopeful than I was after the first trailer, and a lot more sort of optimistic. And I will see, maybe having these high expectations is a bad thing. I'll just be disappointed, setting myself up for disappointment. But we'll see. I'm willing to give this season 2 a shot. Anyway, let's see what's going on in the chat. Let's see. Does Apkin agree with you on the optimism for season 2, or do I have to ask him? You have to ask him, Colonel. I haven't had a chance to talk to him after watching the second trailer. Jeremiah says most fans want a new Star Trek post-Voyager, not prequels. Yeah, and I'm with most fans on that. I agree, but that's not what we have. We have Discovery. And we are going to get that post-Voyager or post-Nemesis show with the new Picard show that they announced, because they announced that's taking place 10 years after Nemesis. So it seems like they will have, and I said this before, that's why they're having lots of different, like these new Star Trek shows in development to satisfy different fan aspects, because there are a significant number of fans, Jeremiah, as you mentioned, that would prefer a post-Voyager show. But there are also fans of, more newer fans of the reboots, the Chris Pine stuff that are more familiar with this original series setting and want to see more stuff in that vein. So Discovery kind of plays to that. And I'm actually fine with that as if they have different shows playing to different aspects of appealing to different fans. Like they have a Starfleet Academy show for people who, younger audiences. They have a Khan show for fans of Star Trek 2, and they have a Picard show for TNG fans that want to see continued beyond TNG. Like, I think that's smart, actually, business-wise, to try to appeal to different subsets of the Star Trek fandom, because they're obviously different out there who seek different things. And I think Discovery is trying to appeal more to the casual fan or the mainstream viewer, because it's meant to be their big sort of outlet there, which is probably why it's not said post Voyager, because post Voyager is more niche to like the Star Trek fans like you and me of what we want, where the casual viewer wouldn't be that. It would be kind of alienated by that, to be honest. And that's why the Star Trek franchise started losing steam around Voyager Enterprise times. So Discovery is trying to appeal to the general, and I'm fine with that. But season 1 had a lot of issues, and it doesn't seem like they're trying to address those issues in season 2, which is nothing but a good thing. Colonel Doomsday is going to air in mid-January. Yeah, I think with this trailer they announced it was January, I believe 17th, I believe. I had it written down somewhere, and it was going to air on a Thursday in the U.S., but it used to air on Sundays. So I think I don't know if that means it's going to air on a Thursday every week. I'm assuming that's what it means. Anyway, yeah, I just wanted to come on real quick, just shout out about the trailer. I hadn't planned to do this. I just saw the trailer yesterday. I was like, hey, that looks interesting. I have a few things to say about it. So I said them. So anyway, check out my channel. Once Discovery does hit in January, I will review it every week and to see if it does live up to the expectations set by this trailer. We'll see. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. You can check out my channel. I do all the other sorts of things. I'm going to release my Iron Fist Season 2 review in just a few hours, so you can keep out for that. And also be covering Better Call Saul. The finale comes out this week, so I'm going to do that and the video about Season 4 and lots of other stuff. Game of Thrones, Lost stuff coming, so keep an eye out for that. One more thing I'm right in the middle of writing my review for Deep Space Nine Season 2, and it does seem like there's a lot of similarities between what they're going to do with Discovery Season 2 and Deep Space Nine Season 2, because Deep Space Nine went through the same sort of thing with its first season. A lot of people didn't like it. Maybe it wasn't as vocal as Discovery, but Deep Space Nine also wasn't as mainstream or as widely viewed as Discovery was. So I think it's proportionate because of that. But a lot of people were complaining about Deep Space Nine being too dark. So Season 2, like the first episode of Season 2, it's kind of funny because the first time you see Cisco, because a lot of people complain about Cisco in particular, that he was too mean, he was too dark, they couldn't identify with this character. So in Season 2, first episode with Cisco, it's like, hey, what's going on? Hey, Kira, come have lunch. Hey, how you doing? Like, they overdid it a bit. If you watch that premiere episode of Deep Space Nine Season 2, he did get kind of better in the rest of Season 2, where they kind of leveled out his sort of angsty feel that's inherent with Cisco to the more trying to be a bit not too dark. And so that's what I expect with Season 2 of Discovery. I expected to have some of those same sort of growing pains that Season 2 of Deep Space Nine had, where it is improvement and stepping in the right direction, but still maybe not quite getting there yet entirely, but still maybe sometimes they try a bit too hard. Like that last trailer when they had ended with that joke with that weird alien smelling or something. That was dumb. That was him trying too hard. But hopefully it will be something like that. But anyway, we'll see. Let's see. when are you airing Better Call Saul finale? When am I airing my review for it? Well, it would be like as soon as I can get it out. So like the day after usually is how it goes. The day after it airs, I'll put out my review, and then I'll do a full-length review of season 4 on the weekend after. Anyway, Jeremiah says they got smart about using Quark for comedic purposes. Well, they use them for comedic purposes in season 1 as well. I think they just got better at it. But anyway, actually, and I do think that the Quark and Odo stuff is some of the stuff that worked from the very beginning of the show. Like that is something that they didn't really have to tweak or work on. They actually got that right pretty early on. They just so that was a strong point of both seasons. That just had to stick with it and continue doing it and fix everything else around it. But anyway, getting off of Deep Space Nine. Cool. So yeah, I'll take off now. Thank you guys for checking this out, and I'll be sure to check out my channel for other stuff upcoming. See you guys later.